Hello and welcome to Essential Zen. This is Vicki, and I thought we'd get started right away with our stretch and tone. If you've come to my class, I always have a lot of ideas, so I want to get started right away so we can go through them all. But let's start. I thought we'd start right now in a stand. So let's come to your stand here. Remember, root into your mat. Let's try to find the four corners of your feet. So if it's possible, lift your big toes up and drop them down, and then your pinky toes, or maybe the rest of them, drop them down. Find the two corners back there in your heels so that we're rooted. Remember, our feet are everything in our practice. So if you can root your feet into the mat and then start to lengthen. Start to lengthen your spine and drop your shoulders down. So remember, this stretch and tone classes is basically still a yoga class. We connect our breath with our movement. There, of course, a lot of yoga asanas. We might do a little bit more core than usual. But the goal here is to really find your pose, root into your mat, lengthen your spine, and remember your breath. So let's bring your hands to your heart. As your feet are rooted into your mat, engage even the arches. So lift your arches up, engage your legs, lengthen your spine, drop your shoulders down. And imagine that you have a string pulling you from the top of your head up towards the ceiling. So as you're rooted here, imagine, so if you're rooted, close your eyes and trust that you can stand here nice and still. Let's take a breath. Exhale out. Feel your heart beating right now as your hands are towards your heart. Bring your thumb knuckles up towards your forehead, your third eye. Let's set your intention today, what you need out of your class. So again, remember, this is a yoga-based stretch and tone. We'll connect our breath with our movement. Set that intention, whatever it might be today. Add a little fun in there too. So extend those arms above your head. Take a full deep breath. Lengthen from your fingertips all the way down to your shoulders, from the crown of your head all the way up, all the way down to the base of your spine. Engage your legs so your femur bones are really engaged and strong here. And then exhale, fold. Fold forward. Bend your knees a lot. Bend your knees so much that your whole body right now is on your thighs. Where's your drishti? Where are you looking right now? See if you can look right towards, maybe towards your toes or your knees. Shake your head, yes or no. Relax here, take a breath. Good, keep those knees bent. Let's inhale, extend those arms all the way back up. Extend up, look up, take a breath, and bring your hands to your heart. All right, so let's extend those arms out. So really think about lengthening here from your right arm over to your left. So your palms are facing up. Lengthen. Exhale over to one side. Inhale back up. Lengthen here. Exhale other way. Good. Inhale back up. Lengthen up. Take a full deep breath here. Interlace those fingers. Push up towards the ceiling. Take another breath. Good, let's extend those arms, bring those hands back down, and we're in Tadasana, equal standing pose. So again, good strong feet, lengthen, drop your shoulders down. Remind yourself what you need. So we're gonna start here in a little brain yoga. So the goal here in this class is I thought we'd work on every part of our body. So we're going to work on our brain first. So let's take your first and second finger and let's cross it over towards your, so I have my left fingers, two fingers, towards my earlobe. So I'm going to massage that earlobe. Then take your first and second finger and other side. So we're going to cross over. So right away, this cross body work is so good. We're really working on right brain, left brain. We're moving that energy from one side to the other. Remember, energy needs to move. So extend, bring those elbows up. So this is brain yoga. So massage your earlobes as you're here. Remember, root into your mat. Your feet should be about hip widths apart. We're going to come down. So remember, just exhale down, inhale back up. So the goal here is we'll do maybe about 7 or 9 of them. The goal here would even be to do 21. So see what's good for you. You know, you can always continue with this. So exhale down, inhale up. Exhale down, inhale back up. So we're doing a cheer. We're really rooting all 4 corners of your feet into the mat. We're using our breath to connect our breath with our movement. We have a little cross body work going on. So we're working both sides of our brain. So there's been lots of studies out for this brain yoga. This is great for kids. Any type of cross body is great. It's great for anyone that wants to improve their brain. And just continue on. So again, 21 at the most, 7 or 9. The minute you're starting to feel like that's enough, just drop out of your pose. All right, a couple more maybe. Okay, so let's come back and then just come back to your Tadasana. Take a breath again. Let's extend those arms up. Take a breath, look up towards the ceiling. Exhale, fold back into a forward fold. So this time, let that head drop again. Good. Bring your fingertips down on the mat. We're going to lift your left foot up, bring it back. And so let's come into a little lunge to start with. So we're really working on our psoas muscle, our lower back, the piriformis muscle back there. So just find what feels good for you in this pose. Remember, the goal here is to keep your right foot in alignment with your knee if you're on your right side. We're stretching out this hip flexor. Lengthen your spine, drop your shoulders down and breathe. So extend those arms up, lengthen, and notice how you're feeling. Remember, we're really lengthening from the crown down to the base of your spine. Good. Bring your hands down towards each side of your foot and just bring your knee back. Let's go right on to the other side. So we're just warming up right now. Bring your opposite leg forward. Again, nice movement, nice breath. Chris is doing the yoga class with me today, so it's helping a lot. Hi, Chris. Extend those arms up. Look up towards the ceiling. Who's here? Hi, Jackie. Miss you. Hi, Nicole.
And Tony.
Hi, Tony. Miss everyone. Hi, Lynn. All right, so bring your hands back down. Let's take your knee and meet together. So both knees are down on the mat. Spread out those fingers. We're in a nice tabletop position. Spread out those fingers. Ground those hands now down into the mat. Your knees should be about hip widths apart. See if you can point those toes back. Or if it doesn't feel comfortable for you, curl your toes. But try not to let those feet sickle in or out. Connect your breath with your movement here. Inhale, look up. Exhale, round. So we're in a couple cat-cows right now, just warming up. I feel like this pose is never old. It always feels good for me. Remember, you can work on just lingering into the pose a little bit. You could work on just the middle area or add a little bit more and really drop down. But make it your pose. Okay, so we're back to nice tabletop position. Lengthen here, drop your shoulders away from your ears. Good, take a full deep breath in. Take your right foot and bring it back. So let's start with that right foot and just imagine you're doing toe raises here. So come forward and back. If you can, try to get all 5 toes on the mat. Breathe. Good. Extend your right leg up. So remember, we're really flexing that foot. Imagine stamping that back wall. Engage your leg back there. Shoulders are away from ears. Take your left arm, extend it out. So left arm, right leg. Take a full deep breath in. Exhale out. Good. Let's squeeze that knee in. Bring that knee in towards that elbow. And then inhale nice and long. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, nice and long. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, nice and long. Take another breath. Bring your hand down. We're going to turn. Imagine bringing your left hand directly underneath your shoulder. I'm going to keep my left knee down on the mat right now. Extend your right arm up. So we're in a side plank. The goal here is to really root from that left hand all the way up to the right arm. Open that heart. You can lift your right leg up if you like and stamp the ceiling back there. You can keep it down on the mat. Breathe. Good. So we're going to work on our core a little. So take your right arm and extend it, bring it around, and see if you can just bring that right hand underneath your shoulder. Inhale back up, nice and long. Exhale, bring it through. Really engage your core as you're doing this. Nice, slow movement. Inhale back up. 2 more times. Bring that hand down, squeeze, and inhale back up. 1 more time, bring it down. Squeeze it back up, bring it back up. Take a full deep breath here. Bring your hands back down, you're back to tabletop. So take that tabletop again, really lengthen the back of your neck here, long sternum. Take your left foot, bring it back. So we're same thing on this side now. So left foot, all 5 toes are down on the mat. Bring them forward and back, forward and back. Nice toe raises. Engage all the way up from your femur bone down to your foot. Engage your core, lengthen your spine. So we shouldn't be looking straight down, but maybe looking out a little bit. All right, extend that leg out. Again, flex your foot, stamp that back wall. Bring your right arm out. Good, let's squeeze it in. Inhale nice and long. Squeeze it in. Inhale nice and long. Squeeze it in. And inhale nice and long. Take another breath. Good, bring your hand down, turn. Let's bring your left foot down so we're really stacking those shoulders. Your right hand is directly underneath your shoulder. Lift that left arm up. Open that heart. Take a breath. Good, let's take your left hand and bring it underneath your left underarm and bring it back up. Nice and slow and controlled. Noticing everything here as you're in these poses here. So really lengthen. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, lengthen. And 1 more time. Exhale, squeeze. And inhale, lengthen. Take another breath. Really reach up. Good. Bring your hands back down to the mat. Both hands are back down on the mat. Good. Let's drop into child pose. So knees apart, toes touching, forehead on your mat. Remember your variation of child pose. I always like to say this yoga mat, our yoga mat is our safe place. It's our place where we really pay attention to what we need here, in our own body. So if you find that you're in a pose that's not working today, drop out of the pose, come into child pose. That's the goal. That's it. This stretch and tone is really about finding what you need, connecting, of course we're breathing, we're noticing how we're moving in our poses. but also giving yourself that gift of what you need today. Every day's different in our poses. Every day's different in our yoga practice. So if you need more of a rest, rest. If you want to add a little bit more, you can always add more. So everyone take a full deep breath. Exhale out completely. Let's spread out those fingers a lot. Extend those arms out. Curl your toes. And as slowly as you can, let's see if we can come into a downward dog with control. So nice and slow up. So remember your downward dog. We might have a little bit, everybody might have a little different downward dog. The goal here is to root those hands into the mat. Spread out those fingers. Check in with your feet. So I like to do a few toe raises. You can also pedal out those feet. So your hands are about shoulders width apart. Your feet maybe are hip width apart, maybe a little closer together, maybe even wider apart. So notice what you need here in this yoga pose. Again, in our vinyasa flow, this is our resting pose. So take a full deep breath in. Exhale out completely. Look at your hands. Lift your heels up off the mat and let's walk your feet towards your hands. We're in a forward fold here. Bend your knees a little bit. Let's inhale, come all the way up to standing. Extend up, look up, take a breath, and bring your hands to your heart. Okay, so we're going to work on some lunges today. So I'm going to work on my right foot first. So let's lift your left knee up. So root that bottom foot down. We'll start with a little balance here. So root all four corners of your foot into the mat. Bend your left knee. Take a breath. Bring that left foot back, and we're going to come right into a high lunge here. So remember your high lunge. We're skiing, we're probably not on a tightrope. So one foot is in one lane, one foot is in the other lane. Notice your back leg. So in fact, you could even bring your heel down and then scoot it back a little bit so that when you're in this high lunge, your heel is off the mat. Notice your hip flexor. Does your hip flexor feel a little stiff? Bend your knee. In fact, what you could do is bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. Remember, the goal here is we're rooting that right foot forward. Your foot should be in alignment with your knee. Your heel is off the mat. Remember your alignment. So we're reaching. Maybe your arms are up, maybe they're right here. Breathe. So if it feels okay for you, see if you can straighten out that leg. If it's still feeling a little stiff today, let's find what's working for you today. Good. Now let's extend those. Bring those fingertips right on each side of your right foot. So we're in a little low lunge here. Again, let's come forward and back. So we're doing toe raises like we did in the beginning. Shoulders are away from ears. Let's see if we can lengthen from the crown down to the base of your spine. So we're going to step into a little standing split. So let's bring all your weight on your right foot. Let's lift your left leg up. So as you're in this standing split, just notice where this back leg is. It doesn't have to go high, but we're going to bring it down and see if we can try a little bit of movement here. So we're going to come on up into a high lunge. Exhale, bring your hands down and kick your leg up. Slowly bring it down with control. Use your core to come back up. So that's the movement. If it's not working today, we'll adjust. I'll give you a couple different variations. So you can bring your fingers down, kick your leg up very slowly. Keep your right knee bent. We're back to a high lunge with that leg up. If that's not working, you could always just maybe try a little balance where your leg is up and then bring it back down. A little movement. So the goal here is movement. The goal here is connect your breath with your movement. I know you can't see that back foot, but you can feel it. So the goal in this stretch and tone class is to really be aware of how we're holding our bodies, how we're moving our bodies. So when we're in our everyday life, we have that muscle memory. So then, so maybe you're constantly in a pigeon-toed position. We're working on trying to correct that. Does that make sense? All right, so slowly, one more, we're finished with that. Now come back up, so we're in a nice slow lunge. Feeling that thigh, lengthening that back leg. Take a breath. Bring your fingers on each side of your foot again. Bring your knee down to the mat, let's add a twist. Take your right arm, bring it straight up towards the ceiling. Again, breathe in and out. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, maybe go a little farther in your twist. If you like, you can always lift that left leg back up. Bring your hands back. So your fingers are on each side of your foot. Good, let's plant your hands down in the mat. We're gonna come into a little plank. So we're in a nice plank. If this feels like it's way too much, drop down to your knees. Engage your core, spread out those fingers. Remember, we're really lengthening here. In fact, you can come forward and back. Notice how we're really working your core. Okay, bring your right knee down. Let's bring your left foot to meet. We're back to a lunge. Root that back foot down so your heel's off the mat. Let's see if you can come right into a high lunge from here. So remember, engage everything, kind of squeeze internally so that we're feeling rooted and lengthened. Extend those arms up if it feels okay. Take a breath. Bend your knee, extend it up. Bend, straighten it out. So again, the goal here is we're really rooting both feet. That heel is off the mat. Our hips are forward. You know what I just remembered? Time. You know me, I can go for hours. So we better have time. Okay, so extend those arms up, take a breath. Bring your hands on each side of your foot. So I have my fingertips down on the mat. Let's lift your right leg up into a standing split and drop it back down. Come on up. Notice we're working the core by doing that. We're working both legs. Bring your fingers down, inhale up. Good, slowly come up. Inhale up. Exhale, come down. Lift your leg up. Continue to breathe. Bring your hand. Notice if one side feels a little different from the other. Okay, so we're back to a high lunge. Bring your hands on each side of your foot. Bring your knee down on the mat, add your twist. Bring your hand back down to the mat. Whoops. Bring your right foot forward. We're back to a forward fold. Bend your knees. Let's come into a little chair, just a teeny chair. Lift up and bring your hands to your heart. Take a rest. Good. So take a breath here. Let's extend those arms up. Take one hand and just hold on to your elbow. Exhale over to one side, or your wrist, sorry, that's the wrist. Inhale back up. Exhale other way. Good, inhale back up, look up towards the ceiling, bring your hands to your heart, take a rest. Come back to your heart. Come back to your breath. Come back to your intention. Okay, so we're going to, can't do stretch and tone without a nice goddess. So let's come to a nice strong goddess here. So have your feet about hip width apart, or wider than hip width apart. Again, the same idea, we're really rooting into the mat, or into the floor. So your four corners of your feet are firmly on your mat. Start to engage the arches of your feet. Now remember your knees. Your knees should be pointing towards your two middle toes. Let's come into our goddess. So here we are. In fact, if it feels good for you, just do a few pliés. So we're coming down and up, exhale down, inhale up. So squeeze everything. Feel your alignment. So we're rooted, knees are pointing out. Crown of your head is in alignment with your spine. Drop your shoulders down. And breathe. Okay, so let's come on down. Find your stance here. I like my feet a little bit wider apart. Still checking in with your knees. First and second finger. So press your fingers together. Take a breath. First and third. Press your fingers together. First and fourth. First and fifth. Let's try it again. First and second. First and third. First and fourth. First and fifth. One more time. First and second. First and third. First and fourth. First and fifth. Bring your heels up. Squeeze those inner thighs. Slowly bring those heels down. Lift those toes up now. Bring those toes down. Slowly come up. Extend those arms out. Reach from your right arm over to your left. This time your fingertips are up. Great. Shake out those shoulders. Shake out those hands. So one of my favorite poses, let's come into a wide-legged forward fold. So root those feet. Make sure your toes are forward or slightly pigeon-toed. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Fold forward, let that head drop down. Shake it if it feels good. In fact, you could inhale, lengthen here. Exhale, fold. So the goal here is we're going to feel nice and long. Lengthen from the crown down to the base. If you feel like you need to bend your knees a little bit, do that. Imagine there's a space between each vertebrae. Keep breathing. Good. Now very slowly bend your knees, bring your hands to your hips. Come on up. Squeeze those shoulders all the way up to your ears. Exhale, roll them back down. Okay, so we're going to work on another little build. We're building a little bit of strength here. We'll come down to the mat, do a little bit of core, and do some nice stretches. So I'm on my right leg. So let's take your right fingers and just bring your right fingers towards your right foot. Your right knee is bent. Your knee is going in alignment with your two middle toes. Good. So let's extend and bring that right leg out to the side and then bring it back down. So here's our movement. Bring it out and up. So fingers down. Inhale nice and long. Exhale, bring your fingers down. Inhale nice and long. Continue with this. Do about 7, 8. So we're working on our side body a little bit. We're working on the inner and outer thighs. We're working on our core. What do you think that is? All right, let's do one more. All right, come out of your pose. Let's go back to a nice goddess. Exhale down. Here we are, back to goddess. Take a full deep breath in. Exhale out. First and second, first and third, first and fourth, first and fifth. Great, extend up, take a breath, bring those shoulders all the way up, really squeeze them up towards your ears, exhale, roll them back down. Other way now, so let's try, remember your fingertips are going towards your left toe. Bend your left knee so it's in alignment with your two middle toes. And then kick it out, bring your fingers down, extend up. Connecting breath with movement. Noticing everything as your whole body. We're really stretching, we're really lengthening, we're breathing. Inhale and exhale. And one more. All right, we're back to Tadasana, equal standing pose. Take a rest. Bring those toes up, or your heels up, excuse me. We're on all 10 toes. Exhale, come down. Toes are up. Inhale up. Exhale, come down on your heels. Bring your fingers, your palms back together. Take a breath. All right, one more core work here. So standing, nice standing core work. So come back to your goddess. Remember, you could come down deep. You can come in somewhere in between. Bring your hands behind your head. Remember your alignment. So try not to come forward. We're really lengthening here. So notice your core. Squeeze your abdomen in, and then exhale, bring it back out. Inhale, squeeze. Exhale, bring it back out. So as slowly as you can, we're going to keep that breath. Slowly as you can, we're going to exhale over to one side. Inhale, back up. Exhale, over. Slowly inhale up. Connecting breath. Really engaging and breathing into the core area. So I didn't say today in my stretch and tone, I always say you're perfect exactly where you are. Remember that today. You're perfect exactly where you are today. So if you find your breath is becoming shallow, stop. It's just a yoga pose. It's just a pose. Okay, so 2 more each side. So 1, exhale, inhale up, exhale, inhale up. Okay, let's slowly just kick those feet back, jump back together, take another breath, extend those arms up, take a breath here. Let's exhale, fold back into your forward fold. Shake out that head, bend your knees slightly. Inhale, come into your flat back, long spine here. Let's plant your hands down on the mat. Let's come into a downward dog. So we're in a nice downward dog. Spread out those fingers, root those hands down. Remember, push back a little bit so you have some weight back there in those toes. If your heels are on the mat, off the mat, that's perfectly fine. Take a breath. Inhale. Exhale out. Good. Let's lift your right leg up. Imagine now that you're stamping that back wall. So we're not lifting it all the way up. We're bringing it straight back so your hips are squared. Flex your foot. Bring your right knee in towards your forehead. And then inhale nice and long. Kick it back out. Bring your right knee towards your right tricep. Kick it back out. Add your twist now right to left. Hold it here. Kick it back out. Drop your foot back down. Let's drop into child pose or puppy pose. So remember, puppy pose, you're extending those arms out. You're on your knees and your forehead, or the top of your head is on the mat. Take a full deep breath in. Notice how you're feeling right here in your body. How's that breath? Smooth deep breath in. Long deep breath out. So before we go on to the other side, we're going to come upside down. So we're not going to come into a headstand unless you'd prefer to do a headstand today. But the goal here is I just want for you to notice the difference between having your forehead on the mat versus the top of your head on the mat. So we're going to take our head and just bring the top of your head on the mat. We're on our knees right now. And possibly take your hands now. We'll come into a little rabbit pose where your hands are right behind your ankles, holding onto your ankles. So the top of your head is on the mat. Your knees are bent and you're breathing. So maybe possibly you could be rocking forward and back or stay still. And the goal here is just to notice, just be aware of how you feel with your head down on the mat. You know, we're being upside down. We're upside down. We have a little different perspective today. Instead of, how many times are we upside down in our adult lives? Not too many times. So just noticing how that feels in your body. Breathing through it. So if you find you're feeling a little anxious with your head being down on the mat, your hips higher than your head, see if you can soothe your body and your mind with your breath. Let it pass. One more breath in. Exhale, drop it. Come back to your child pose. So come back to this child pose. So even in this child pose, think about lengthening. In fact, bring your hands in front of you now. Lengthen from your fingertips down towards your shoulders. From the crown of your head down to the base of your spine. Everything is nice and long. See if you can widen your knees just slightly so your hips can drop down a little deeper. So let's slowly come back to your downward dog. So take your time coming into this downward dog. Maybe, again, your toe raises. Maybe pedal out those feet. So maybe you can start to bring your chest a little bit towards your thighs. Good. Once you're settled in here, inhale, lift your left leg up. Square your hip, flex your foot. Imagine you're stamping that back wall. Squeeze your inner thigh. Bring that left knee in towards your forehead. Push it back out. Exhale, inhale out. Bring your left knee towards your left tricep or your elbow. Kick it back out. Add your twist now, left to right. Hold it. Kick it back out. Come back to your downward dog. Bend those knees a lot. Slowly come back to your downward dog. Everyone take a full deep breath in. Exhale out completely. So let's lift your right leg up. Look at your hands. See if you can bring your right foot in between your hands. Let's bend your left knee down. Bring your left knee down to the mat. We're going to come right into a little lizard pose. So now it's really, we'll work on the core just a little bit more, but work on some nice stretches. So again, notice your psoas muscle here. Bring your hands inside your right foot. So think about lengthening here. Lots of variations in your lizard. You can start to work on, I like to have my right knee, and really squeeze it in towards my shoulder. I like to build a little bit of strength. But you can also just bring your right knee over to the side. You can work on even just moving. This is a great time to just close your eyes and find what you need here in this pose. So we never want to push into the pose. The goal here is to really notice your joints and your body. So frame your foot, lift up so all your weight now is on that back knee. Flex your right foot, spread out those toes, try to keep it nice. You can bend your knees slightly, shoot your right hip back, come into a little forward fold, drop down, finding your pose. Stay and breathe here. Take your right foot, bring it back. Your right knee will match with your left. Bring your left foot forward. Again, this side might feel completely different. You could start to lengthen this back leg. You could bring it in if it feels good, if it feels better. Bring your hands inside your left foot. Again, we're in lizard. So you can always squeeze your knee in. You can work a little bit more, maybe hug your tree. Come on down onto your forearm. That's the beauty of yoga. There's always something you can do. A lot of people think that, I don't know how many times I hear this, people always say, well, I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible. But really that's not the goal in yoga. The goal in yoga is to just make space in your body. Maybe it's in your mind too, where maybe you didn't have before. Slowly release, frame your foot before you come up. Bring all your weight on your right knee now, extend that back leg, flex your foot, shoot your hip back. Nice breath. Inhale and exhale. So again, noticing how you hold things. I have a tendency to always be pigeon-toed, so I'm really trying to work on that, correcting that. Try to keep your foot so that it's in alignment with your knee. Those two middle toes should be in alignment with your knee. Even if you feel like you can get into a better stretch with your foot in or out, we want to try to correct that a little. All right, so slowly, let's release here. Bring your knees together. So let's come down to a seat. Like I said, we could go on and on, I know, for hours. One of these days I'm going to do it all day long. Do a yoga class. Okay, so we're in a nice seat. We're in a nice seat. Start to lengthen here from the crown down to the base. Maybe move until you can feel really, again, now grounded here. Spread out those toes. Remember, it's not how far you go into the pose at all. Let's extend those arms up. Take a breath. Let's exhale, fold, come into this forward fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, maybe a little farther in your stretch. The goal is to close your eyes. Find your breath. Pay attention to every area of your body. So not only are we working the hamstrings, notice your lower back. Relax your shoulders. Isn't it amazing what our breath can do? So notice what happens as you start to breathe. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, maybe fold a little bit farther into your pose. We're learning a little patience too, right? We can't push into these poses. We have to let our breath help us with that. So let's slowly come up. So as you come back up, just bend your knees, windshield wiper those knees a little side to side. And we're going to eventually come down to the mat. I'm going to turn a little bit. So let's come all the way down to the mat. If you want to work your core a little bit, you can roll on down. And then we're going to work on a little bit of core before we come into some more stretches. So let's start by bending your knees. So your knees are bent, your feet are in alignment with your knees. So let's bring your hands behind your head. The same idea here. We're going to squeeze your abdomen in and then bring it back out. So slowly come up. Remember, look up towards the ceiling. You don't even have to round forward, but look straight up. Exhale, come down. Inhale, squeeze, and come back down. So we're going to continue with this. So now let's add a little twist here. So take your right leg. I'm going to start with my right leg. I'm crossing over my right elbow towards my left knee. Bring it back. Cross over other way. Nice and controlled. Staying with your breath. Squeezing your abdomen in. Bringing it back out. So we're not holding our breath. Connecting breath with movement. Squeeze that abdomen in and bring it back out. Two more times. When I say two, it's just two. It's not two each way. Okay, so we're back to releasing your shoulders, bringing your head back down to the mat. So your back of your head is down on the mat. There's a nice little relax there in your neck. Take your right toe, or it doesn't matter which side, and we're just going to imagine bringing your toe down, and there's a pond down there. So we're going to bring your toe down and check the water, and then slowly inhale, lift it back up. Exhale down, inhale back up. So really squeeze your abdomen as you're doing this. Remember, we're breathing as slow as controlled, and slow and controlled as you can. All right, so now we're going to bring both feet down. Point your toes. Really squeeze your abdomen. Slowly bring those toes down. So you're going to bring your toes into the water, just to check on that temperature. And then slowly squeeze your abdomen. Come back up. Exhale down. Inhale back up. quality over quantity. Two more times. So it's definitely doable, right? All right, now slowly bring your knees into your chest. Squeeze those knees in. Exhale out, maybe rock side to side. So let's extend those legs straight up. So now extend those legs straight up, and we're in a nice legs up the wall. Point and flex, point and flex. Good. So let's bring your right knee in towards your chest. Extend your left leg straight out on the mat. So your leg is back on the mat. Let's really think here about rooting that left hip down on the mat. So if you feel like you're not rooted here, if your entire leg is not down on the mat, bend your bottom knee. Bring your right knee in towards your chest. Maybe do some foot circles one way then the other. And then eventually we're going to inhale and extend that leg straight up. So remember, the goal here is we're lengthening this hamstring again, the back of your knee, but we're also paying attention to this bottom leg. So we're rooting this left leg down on the mat also. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, maybe go a little farther in your stretch. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, a little farther. Remember, if you're right here, you're perfectly fine. In fact, you might get more of a stretch if you straighten out that right leg. Bend your bottom knee, cross your right leg over left. We're in a little gentleman style cross-legged position. So notice, do you like your foot down on the mat? This might be perfect. You can flex your right foot and just let that right knee drop down. You can interlace those fingers underneath your bottom left thigh. Find your pose, breathe. Should be able to feel it in this right hip. Good, drop your foot down. Bring both legs down on the mat. Good. Bring your left knee in towards your chest. So your right hip is down on the mat. Your left knee is in towards your chest. Make sure you can do some foot circles, but really think about rooting this bottom leg down, that right leg. Inhale, lift your leg up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, go a little farther in your stretch. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale a little farther, if it's okay. Bend your bottom knee, cross your left over right. Stay right here, flex that left foot, lift your bottom foot up, interlace those fingers underneath your right leg. You can extend your right leg up. That's the beauty of yoga, is finding your pose, finding what's working for your body. Good, bring both feet back down to the mat. Good, so we're rooted, and this is my second favorite, or probably my first favorite, bridge pose. So root those feet down to the mat, knees are bent, feet are directly underneath your knees. So widen your shoulders here and bring your hands right by your hips. Let's slowly push up one vertebrae at a time. So I call this happiness pose. I think this is a great pose to do every day. So imagine right now you're rooted here, so root those feet firmly on your mat. So you can start to interlace those fingers underneath your bottom. You can start to lift up a little bit so that your chest starts to come towards your chin. Remember, chest towards chin, not chin towards chest. Close your eyes here. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, maybe come down a little bit. So we're really opening up that heart. How can you not feel good in this pose? Come back to what your intention is today. What is your intention? Slowly release here. Drop back down towards the mat. Lower back is on the mat. Maybe kind of go side to side. This time bring your feet together. We're going to come back up into bridge again. Only this time we're going to lift our right leg up. So lift your right leg up. Exhale, bring it out. And inhale, lift it up. So stay here. Remember, if this feels like it's too much, come back to your bridge like we did before. So you can point and flex, point and flex, point and flex. Now lift it up. Little pulses here. And then slowly drop down. Drop your foot down, take a rest. One more time. So let's push up, feet are together. Squeeze your inner and outer thighs. Hands are underneath you. Lift your left knee up now. Extend it up. Bring it out and lift it back up. Out and back up. So we're squeezing. We're feeling our core. We're opening up our heart. Working our legs. Flex and point. And remember, you always can come out of your pose. Always, always, always. If your breath is shallow, it's time to come out. All right, little pulses. Slowly come back down. One vertebrae at a time. Bring both feet back. Let's take the soles of your feet together. We're in a Supta Baddha Konasana. Knees are apart. Soles of your feet are together. Bring your hands to your abdomen and feel it as it rises and falls with your breath. Each breath you take, see if you can sink a little deeper into your pose. So very slowly take your knees, take those knees and squeeze those knees back together. If there's another pose you need to do today, please go ahead and do that. If you want to bring your legs up the wall, or if you need to add a little twist, you just gently bring your knees to one side, then the other. But eventually we'll come into Shavasana. So Chris, can you shut that, just shut it up, yeah. Thanks. So let's make a lot of space. Let's drop into your mat completely. Remember, if you prefer legs up the wall, that may be perfect for you. You can bring your legs straight up against a wall. But let's close your eyes. Come back to your intention. So before we drop into our mat, or before we surrender completely, take a breath in through your nose and exhale out completely. Each breath you take, imagine relaxing a little deeper into this pose. Imagine all the poses that we just did. Let it absorb into your body. Let it absorb and now just rest. Bring all your attention to your heart center. Breathe a little deeper into your heart. And say to yourself, may I be happy. May my body be healthy and strong. May my life be filled with ease. And now let's think of one person that you can send out some loving kindness to, that one person that might need it today. Think of that one person and say to yourself, may that person be happy, their body be healthy and strong, and their life be filled with ease. Send them your love. And lastly, send your love to maybe a group of people, your friends, or this group of yoga people that we have, our yoga friends here, our family. May we all be healthy. May we all be healthy and strong. May we be free of inner and outer harm. May our lives be filled with ease. So very slowly, just wiggle out your fingers, wiggle out your toes, maybe give yourself a great big full body stretch before you come to your side. And in your own time, come up to your seat. Thank you so much for practicing with Chris and I today. We miss you all. The light and love in me bows to the light and love in all of you. Namaste.